Well, guys, let's get this thing lit. Mmm. The choice for the evening is Saints and Sinners by Tatawahe. Saints and Sinners is a club. You just can't go into a store and buy these. You got to be in a club, and you got to be invited into the club by a club member, and you only get one invite per year, so don't ask. Mine's always already given out, and it's such a good club. I have a subscription to the club for me and the wife so I can smoke the cigars. Of course, she smokes cigars with me too, but she usually does not smoke these. Anyway, let's just have a conversation. It's not your thing. I get it. I'm also having a little bit of bourbon. This is something that was given to me. And usually when somebody gives something to you, it's not worth a darn. And we shall see. It's kind of got a little bit of, it's kind of got a little apple juice feel to it. Yeah, kind of apple juice and vanilla. It's called Big House straight bourbon whiskey, crafted in small batches, aged in American oak. Batch number 4. So it's made by Sazerac, if you know who that is. Sazerac makes, or they own Buffalo Trace and Blanton's and all that, and it's probably some rejected batch of Mash Bill 1 or Mash Bill 2. Mash Bill 2 being more Blanton's and Weller and all that. Mash Bill 1 being like Buffalo Trace and Eagle Rare, et cetera, et cetera. Probably some reject of probably Mash Bill 1. That's just a guess. Wanted to follow up. So, okay, maybe the sound's a little bit different. And I had to restart my software. Sometimes this stuff is highly aggravating. You know, guys, and I want to talk about quality, editing and all that. I'm just not good at it. It's not that I can't get good at it. It's just that A, it's going to take time, and B, I'm about to not have hardly any time at all because my busy season is about to get lit. If you're curious about what I do for a living, I haul gas and fuel. We also own a subcontracting firm that works with AT&T and T-Mobile in disasters. So that's really inconsequential. That doesn't take up a lot of my time because I just dispatch some subcontractors out to do the work. It's not a big deal. Doesn't take a whole lot of my time and effort anymore. It used to take half my life. But anyway, what takes my time though is my day in and day out job of hauling gasoline and diesel fuel, and I do that with a local company here, small mom and pop company, and really enjoy what I do and what it provides for me and my family and so on and so forth. My wife is an administrative nurse at the local hospital, and she is in charge of, the last time I checked, somewhere over 100 nurses, and she is right now in the middle of her it's a DNP. It's not a practical. In other words, she's not practicing. Her doctorate degree will not be a practical. In other words, working on people. It's not like a nurse practitioner degree. It's not a PhD, which would be a research doctorate degree. It's more of an administrative doctorate degree. So she's just about to wind that up. We're looking at her graduating in August, I believe. Is that right? Yeah, finishing in August and being able to walk with all that regalia and everything in December. So we're really looking forward to all that. Just to give you a background on what we do for a living and everything. And of course, you know, I got two girls, 19 and 21. And I like to say, because Nikki is so young looking, she's 40 or 41, but I've been picked on in the past, and I like to say I've got 3 lovely daughters. So anyway, that's us in a nutshell. But I wanted to just talk about some audio things and somebody, you know, some topics that some folks are wanting me to work on. I've had some comments asking me to work on wanting me to talk about cables, interconnects, and power cables and speaker cables, and I would really like to do that. Also, let me go ahead and get this out of the way. I tried to do this earlier, but again, my software locked up. I know that the 900-pound gorilla in the room is that quality of my videos suck, and I know that, and it's a struggle. Number one, I've got time right now, but I'm not going to have time in the future to really learn all the tricks of the trades. I've got a friend of mine who wants to come on board, and he currently does editing for church and everything, and he would like to help me out with this. So we shall see how that works out and if there is any help for it at all whatsoever, right? I will say that I enjoy making the videos. They are, even though as simple as they are and everything, they're more work than you probably think that there is to put one out. So anyway, I'm just here to help people. I'm here to help other people who, I'm about 3 years into my hi-fi journey. I'm really here to help along some people that are a little bit younger in their journey than I am. I'm here to learn, and you guys have already taught me some things in your comments and whatnot, and I eagerly await the comments, even if they're negative. I want to get the comments. Yeah, the negative kind of grind my gears and hurt my feelings a little bit. Why would he say that? You know, I kind of want to fight back sometimes, but you just got to be nice and move on and realize that, hey, we're dealing with the internet, and the internet is, well, it's the internet, isn't it? Let's talk about cables for a few minutes. I've got a video that's me unpacking some pretty serious cable related gear. Somebody asked me in the comments the other day what I thought about power regeneration. Back in December, I bought a power regenerator. I bought a Audioquest Niagara 3000. That thing is the most, at the time, it was the most expensive thing in my entire system. Now my turntable, and if you consider the turntable and the cartridge one piece of equipment, the Niagara is the second most expensive thing in my system. I have a philosophy with cables and power that I think anything dealing with interconnects, power cables, speaker cables, and power regeneration and so forth, that any of that should be thought of not as an afterthought, but as literally a component just as important as your DAC, your preamp, your amplifier, speakers, etc. I do agree with Jason Stoddard of Shit, who has said a couple times, your transducers, that's what he calls them. The transducers, look that up, transducers are probably your single most important thing. And we tend to buy the stuff with the LED lights and the LCD screens and stuff that you connect wires to and so on and so forth. We think of those things, amps, DACs, preamps, etc., as the most important parts, but probably the most important part of your system is, going to be your transducers or your speakers. And I tend to agree with that. It's a pretty good assessment, actually. However, it's all important, isn't it? So with cables, whether it be power, interconnects, or speaker cables, do I think they make a difference? And I took plenty of video of me unboxing that Niagara 3000, and I've done quite a bit of editing to that video, but I wanted to pair it up with kind of like something like this. So we may pair it up with this or make it be like part 2 of me talking about it. I did a big deep dive. I tend to really study things out. I know there is such a broad spectrum of opinion on cables. This morning I was watching a video by Cheshire Audio, and I'll link down to the video. And I can't think of his name to save my life, the guy who does the video. Hold on, man, this stuff smells like apple juice. It might be. It's not bad. It's 45. It's 90 proof. 45 alcohol by volume. It's 90 proof. So anyway, it's got an apple juice feel to it. I like that. It's not bad. But anyway, the guy from Cheshire over in England, great video. Watched it this morning. Had some good points. He talked about the spectrum of opinion. You go from people who are like, man, cables make absolutely no difference. And you can go all the way over to the other side of the spectrum where people think they smell elephant farts or unicorn farts or whatever you want to call it off of a cable. And, I do fall somewhere in the middle. Maybe a little bit on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being unicorn farts and 0 being this makes no difference whatsoever. You can go take a lamp cord and make a speaker wire. By the way, you can. I'm probably going to fall on the 7 out of 10 that it makes a tremendous difference, but not unicorn fart difference. I have seen it make a difference in my system. What I did, I'll tell you what I did. Well, before I tell you what I did, let me tell you a good philosophy to have. I do believe he mentioned this morning on that video, on the Cheshire Audio video. He said, 10% is a good rule of thumb. In other words, if you've got $10,000 in audio gear without your cables, then having $1,000 in cables is probably a good ratio to be dealing with. I think that's probably pretty accurate, although I obliterated that. That's why I said I'm probably a 7, maybe an 8 out of that on the scale of 0 to 10. I'm probably a 7 or 8 near the unicorn fart side of things. And there are some reasons why. I'm a completist. I tend to be. I'm trying not to be with records, by the way. I'm trying. I will say, and by the way, if you hear a fan sound in the back, I'm sorry, but I don't know if you will with this Yeti. I don't know how good the Yeti's doing or not, but I've got the grill going. The wife is coming home within the next hour, and I've got some pork chops about as big as my head, kind of slow grilling. So anyhow, in the background. Back to the whole ratio business. Back in December, I had an opportunity that I thought I needed to take advantage of. It started with a Audioquest diamond USB cable. And that is a $700 USB cable at 1 meter. It's literally, it's not even 1 meter, it's like 0.75. I think it's this long, okay? $700. Buddy of mine texted me, he's like, hey man, you need to go over here and check it out. The guys got them for sale, they're open box specials, $250. I had nothing else. I had something nearest to zip cord on my speakers. I had a little bit of Pine audio interconnects and whatnot, and they do great. There's nothing wrong with them at all. They've actually got some good geometry specifics to them and everything. And I needed a USB cable. I had got a Bifrost, a ship Bifrost DAC, and I could have used a coax on it, but I wanted to use a USB cable, and I wanted to use a really good USB cable and go from my Blue Sound node to the Bifrost. Well, for $250, I pulled the trigger on that. And that thing, I had like a $25 USB cable, and I had a $10 USB cable. This thing made a tremendous difference, and it wasn't placebo effect or anything. I mean, the sound stage just like, wow, you know, it made a tremendous difference. I was having jitter issues with that $25 cable, repeatable, and I could find it on certain songs, on certain recordings, and I could repeat it. And when I went to that Audioquest cable, cleared it right up, made a tremendous difference. $700 cable I had $250 in. I don't regret it at all. So I'm the type of personality that's like, okay, what do I need to do? I need to figure out, man, if this makes that much difference, maybe I don't need diamond level stuff, but maybe I can, get on Audioquest's website or whoever's and try to figure out, what do I need? And then I noticed on Music Direct, this is like the first week of December, something like that, on Music Direct's website, they were running anywhere from 45 to 61% off on Audioquest water. Now, what is water? If you look at their brand, they've got, I think, is it 3 tiers of interconnects, XLRs and RCAs, 3 tiers. And this was the first one. This was the cheapest one on the 3rd or the highest tier. And man, next thing you know, I got to admit to you, I was buying $1,000 cables for $400 and at like 61% off. I got to admit, I mean, look, I never thought in this world I'd be spending $400 on a cable. But the deal was I saw what it did with the Audioquest Diamond USB cable. And I was like, hey, that made me a believer. This stuff has got to make a difference. Well, I changed out every single interconnect I had. I changed out all the interconnects. Every one. I don't even remember how many there were. But I know I spent, I think just in the interconnects, I spent like $2,500. RCAs and XLRs. And then I was beating around looking, man, it was like every morning at 2:30 in the morning when I get up, go sit on the couch, drink some coffee, I'd be surfing the internet trying to find a deal on speaker cables. And I looked and looked for about a week and finally found some, made the order. I'm not going to say the company because you'll know why I'm not going to say the company in a minute. Won't Music Direct though. So I make the order, and it's like $450 for a set of Rocket 44 Audioquest, 10-foot. Was it 10 meter or 10? Yeah, it was 10 foot. Because 10 meter would be like crazy. They were 10 feet. I really only needed 6 feet. I really only needed 4 feet. But they were an open box. Oh, I grabbed it. Well, I got an email later in the day. It was like, we thought we had it in stock. We don't have it in stock. Sorry, we're canceling the order. So I pick up the phone. I call the guys. I'm like, hey, I ordered this. I want it. I said it nicer than that, but you need to help me out here. You need to sell me something else. Okay, I understand. You've already charged my card. You've actually pended my card. You're still pending my card. You've not released it. Going through all this trouble, you need to make it right, and you need to sell me a set of speaker cables. Period. They only have to be 10 feet. I didn't need 10 feet. Sell me a pair of 6. Sell me a set of 12. I don't care. He said, well, we don't have anything open box, but I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll just sell you a brand new pair. Who? Okay. Fine. So they shipped me a brand new pair at the price of open box, which was 55% off, something like that. I think they were supposed to be $1,000, and I think I paid $450 for them or something like that. Can't remember exactly. It's been 4 months. Now I'm going to surprise you with something. I put them in, and they said I handmade. I made them myself. Amazon Basics speaker cable. That's what I was coming from. Amazon Basics speaker cable. I got the banana plugs from Amazon. I actually got I'll try to show a picture of it or something, but I actually got a netting sleeve to go over the cable and everything. I mean, they look nice and they look professional. They sounded fine. There was nothing wrong with the sound of them at all. I put those Rocket 44s, again, soundstage, boom, and higher. I mean, the soundstage was taller and deeper. But really and truly, other than soundstage, I really couldn't tell the difference. Now, I had I think my cost in all of that Amazon Basics stuff with all the banana plugs, the netting sheath for it and everything, the banana pants, or what do they call it? Not banana pants, the cable pants, whatever they call it. Everything, I probably, and if I charge $30 an hour, I probably have $300 in those, $250. I probably had $250 in those cables, and they did fine. Do I regret spending $450 on a set of Rocket 44s, Rocket 33s from Audioquest? No, I don't. It does sound better. It was not a humongous jump like I really thought it was going to be. So, being honest about it, that was not a huge jump. Now, the big jump though was the Audioquest water interconnects. That was stupid. That was insane jump. That was the USB cable made somewhat of a difference. The soundstage got bigger, but with the water XLRs, some of my XLRs were like Monster, Pine Audio, etc., etc. Guys, it was a whole nother world. The cymbals, the decay on the cymbals, man. The female female voices were amazing. Shelby Lynn, trying to think of a few others, it's futile right now. Really enjoyed the difference that they made. Was it worth what I paid for all those water interconnects? I don't know. I think I had about $2,000 in interconnects, maybe $2,500 at my cost. If I would have paid retail for them, it'd be $7 or $8 grand. Do cables make a difference? You bet your hiney they make a difference. How big of a difference? A tremendous difference depending on what you're doing and what you're changing out. Now, I probably have, I think I got it figured out on my spreadsheet that my system, when I had the Bifrost in, now I got a Modius DAC, but when I had the Bifrost in, I had about an $18,000 system. So an $18,000 system at MSRP, everything, that's cables and everything, it's about $18,000. So I really only had about 7 in all of it. And I mean, that includes my amplifier, because I near about stole my amplifier. That includes everything. Speakers, all of it. And I'm counting the speakers at $4,500 because that's what they MSRP for, but I ain't paid but $1,000 for it. See what I'm saying? So if you look at how much I spent on cables, and if you look at how much I spent on cables at MSRP, I'm at about like 20 or 25% as far as value of interconnects and speakers. Actually, it's a little more than that, about 30%. But if you look at the value of what I actually paid, it's like 55%. The Niagara is a $3,800 device, $38.99 I think, or $37.99. I stole that thing. I got it for $1,800. That's the way to do this stuff. That's the way to do this stuff. So, do I believe in cables? No, I believe in Jesus, but cables do make a difference. Cables do make a difference. What the Niagara did 2 things. Number one, peace of mind. I no longer, I have called my children at home and been like, hey, unplug my stereo, unplug everything. There's a storm coming, unplug everything. There's a lightning storm. No more of that. No more of that. Not worried about it. I got a Niagara 3000, peace of mind, safety. That's number one. Number 2, black, jet black blacks. Shelby Lynn, her album, Just a Little Lovin', is a fantastic example of what I'm getting ready to talk about. Jet blacks, man. There's the first song and the third song, Just a Little Lovin's number 1, is that right? And number 3, I can't remember the name of it, but it's the best example. With those 2 songs, especially, let's talk about the third one. She starts singing, and there's no music. It's completely a cappella. And she takes a breath. She actually, you can't hardly hear her take the breath, actually. And it goes just jet black. It just absolutely goes away. And then she comes back, starts singing again, and then she goes right back jet black. It's phenomenal. Beforehand, yeah, it was not jet black. There was a little bit of hiss, a little bit of, not really static, but you could tell there was a background. The backgrounds are so jet black with that Niagara now. Now, a friend of mine made me some power cables, and I'll try to show you some pictures of those. Those power cables are crazy, and the way he designed them, is actually off of a guy had a patent back in the 1930s or something like that. But the geometry is all three of the wires, the positive, the ground, and the neutral. It's a particular shape of braid, and with that shape of braid, you also take the ground, and you go just completely off of that, and you put all the grounds into one common ground. So all your devices are running on a common ground. Let me tell you something, I had that before the Niagara, and that lowered the noise floor significantly. So that's what I've got. Now I've got a couple Audioquest power cables that do a couple, like for example, my Blue Sound Node, it runs that 2-prong connector, and I bought a cable just for that. But other than that, everything else is Joshua's cables, and they work great. They work fantastic. He's got a lot of time in them. He's got a lot of material. He's probably got $60 or $70 in material, maybe a little bit more. And he's got a lot of time and sitting there twisting them and everything. Beautiful braids, and they work. That's the most important thing. Really nice audiophile or industrial ends on both ends. So when I did that alone, especially, I had the amplifier going into I had everything going into a surge protector. You need to have your amplifier going straight into the wall. Now, if you got a Niagara 3000, you can actually go into socket 1 and 2, because, well, it basically, I understand the science into it, but what Garth Powell and Audioquest have done, Garth Powell's the lead engineer on that product. What he's done is he's made 1 and 2 just like going into the wall, but you're getting filtered. So I've got the amplifier going into socket 1, and it's getting all the juice it needs. So, do I believe in? I'm at 31 minutes just on this portion. Do I believe in cables? Yeah, I believe in cables. I probably gonna have people get on here and tell me I am completely freaking lost my mind. Apple juice. Strange. But anyway, not bad. I had to report back to my friend and tell him, not bad. I ain't buying it though. But anyhow, so yeah, I believe in cables. So anyhow, I'm gonna cut y'all loose. Look, we're going to Myrtle Beach for 4 or 5 days. I think 4 days. Leaving tomorrow. I do have an update on the anti-static stuff with the records and that equipment and everything. I'm going to do that update down in Myrtle Beach. So I'll talk about that at Myrtle Beach. Anyway, look, God bless you. Have a cigar. Have you a glass of bourbon. I'll catch y'all later.